Out of all the repeated questions I keep getting, there's one in particular I get the most, and that's simply, how do I make my shit? So in order to hopefully stop some of those comments and PMs and whatever, I'm going to now sort of show you how. Now I'm going to be using several programs in this, but I won't be giving full tutorials on any of them. I'm going to be showing my personal procedure, how I go through with things, and then if you want to learn the programs yourself and actually be good at them, you can either just do what I did and just mess around with them and learn them yourself, or you can look up tutorials on the internet, because those already exist. I have no reason to make ones of my own. So for starters, we're going to need the program right down here, Guitar Pro 5. This is not a free program. You can download a demo version, but it's not really worth it. The demo version is very limited. While it does... Actually, no, it doesn't even do that. I was going to say it lasts forever, but it doesn't. One problem with this is that it only allows a maximum of 24 of these squares. I'm going to be very simple with my terms here, just for people who aren't very musically knowledged, which ironically includes myself. Fun fact of the day, I can't read notes very well. I personally prefer to use tabs, because I find those to be a lot simpler, mainly because I grew up, or my first musical experience, I guess you can say, is playing the guitar. And if you play the guitar, then the tabs are very easy to learn. Because the way these work is, you have these 6 lines here, and these 6 lines represent the 6 strings of a guitar. Or if you have a 7 string or whatever, you can change that right here by clicking the track 1 button down here. But yes, these lines represent the strings. And what you can do is to type in various numbers, 0, 2, 5, whatever. Anything up to 30 is available in this program. And those will represent the frets that you hold on the guitar. You can also see that notes will actually appear on the top here, so whether you prefer notes or tabs or whatever, it's either way going to be very convenient for you. However, that brings me up to something. That's why I like using Guitar Pro 5. There is a newer version, Guitar Pro 6. Don't use it. It's terrible. It's really not terrible, but it's a lot more inconvenient. One thing is that not all instruments are actually allowing both notes and tabs, so some you need to actually know notes for, which for me at least is a bad thing. And it's supposed to be better with like more RSE, which is a realistic sound engine, to make it sound better. It's absolute crap. My very first Mario & Luigi RPG 4 themes use that program's RSE. It's not good. It's really not. Stay away from that program. And it's not free either, of course. But yes, so the way I do things is by typing in numbers. Hooray! While I don't know the notes like A, C, and D and all that crap, I do know the lengths and what they mean. So you do have to kind of use notes and tabs at the same time. So just as a short example, I'm now going to type in a little note sequence, or tab sequence. So can you see what sort of melody this might be before listening to it? Ta-da. That's the start of something. Then you can begin adding new instruments, pressing the button on the top there. I really hope this thing actually records the mouse, or else I'm gonna have to do stuff. And here you can change the name of things, how you want to tune it, as if it were a guitar. You can choose the amount of strings from 4 to 7. There are different preset tuning areas as well, if you're not very experienced with that kind of things. And then you press OK, and you have an instrument. But then suddenly, you want to use percussion. Then you just take add a track, and you hit percussion here, can't talk. And then you suddenly have percussion. Now this makes things a bit awkward again, because you basically just have to learn every single one of these numbers and what they mean. After you've used a program for a while, it just makes sense in your brain. Like, I remember very easily now that a 42 is a closed hi-hat and 46 is an open hi-hat, and then 38 and 40 are both snare drums, and you have 35 and 36 are bass drums. You have the toms, 41, 41, 43, 45, 47, 48, 50. I hope that was right. Then you have various cymbals, 57, 49, 55, 52. etc. There's a lot, basically. It sounds terrible to learn, but you'll get used to it, you just will. Alternatively, you can use the notes here as well, but I haven't even bothered with that, it just seems really dumb to me. So here's an overly complicated little beat, and then you can be lazy and just copy and paste, which works like with everything else, of course, Control-C and Control-V. And then suddenly, you have a thing. Actually, that sounded kinda crap, but my point still remains. This is how things work, and my real only advice here is just do it a lot. You will get used to it, especially if you actually really properly want to do this. Again, I won't give any full tutorials on how everything works here, so if you want to know any more detail about this, just figure it out yourself or look it up. And I just realized also these squares down here look kind of like the Dutch flag. Hooray! Now once you've just kind of digged around a little while, you've done things you think sound like good ideas, and suddenly you have a thing. For example, this right here, which is a thing that I have, which haven't been uploaded yet. So, preview to anyone who can tell how this looks like, or how it sounds like, I mean, or if you just want to type it in yourself, I guess. So, these little squares here are basically just to show kind of how long the song actually is. You really don't need to pay too much attention to this, but they can be handy to know. Like, for example, when you make new instruments also, the colors are automatically set to 6 and 7 strings being red, 4 and 5 strings being yellow, and percussion instruments being blue. Which, it just makes things more handy. It just does. So here you have a thing, you can see various notes and thingamabobbers here. And then you have a finished thing. What do you do then? You can, of course, just upload this as a MIDI. You do file and export it as a MIDI, and there you go, you have a MIDI. And then you can, for example, go right here to, where the hell is it, Switch Sound File Converter, which is a free program if you want it to be, because you can buy it, but you don't have to. I just deal with it, I don't know. So then you can add your file, just go to whatever folder you have it to. I have a lot of folders, by the way. That's very interesting. And then you can find the file you have, and then you convert it to whatever the hell you want. And then you can just put that in a video editor with a picture or a video or whatever the hell you want. And then you have a thing you can upload. Or just upload it as an MP3 file to some website or whatever the hell you want. That's really just personal preference. But then suddenly you find out you accidentally wrote 15 there, but then you also find out I don't like the MIDI sound font. I want to change things up a bit. There are a lot of things you can do then. One of the easier things is, one thing that I actually do quite a lot, is this program right here. This is a free program called MIDI Workplace. You can buy it, and you will have a certain more features, such as you can convert them to MP3 files, but I'll explain a way to get around to that later. But then you just open a file. I'm gonna find a file that's already been uploaded, like Mario Party 9 and Toad's Elevator Maze, because that was a great name. And then you need to choose your sound font, which you can, in this program, you do with settings. And then you have a sound font here. This is a sound font called Rock. It's probably going to be very difficult to find. I guess maybe if you like search for Rock, sound font, David Sean. I don't know. I just got it from a friend via Skype. That's a sound font I really like a lot, so if you can find it, then that's good for you. But there are tons of other sound fonts. This one on the top here, if you're lucky, it can actually work very well, but it doesn't work a lot of times. It's the one that I used for the Mario Galaxy 3 staff roll theme. Then you have other things like Donkey Kong Country, Final Fantasy 4 that aren't really that interesting when making your own theme, unless you're trying to make them style for that. Then, for example, this one, Synergy 8MB. That's also a very nice one, but it's very similar to the sound font that comes with the program already, which you can also access by just hitting default sound font, and that's just kind of what follows when you download the program. Let's see what this sounds like with this sound font. I have no idea what it sounds like already, so that's gonna be interesting. Okay, so that was kind of crap as well, so I figure, yeah, these sound fonts don't work for me. Then you can do something a bit more complicated. There are again several programs you can use for this, like Reason or something it's called. I don't know, but that's not free either. The program I personally use a lot for this is right here, Mixcraft. And I already have a thing here that I'm going to briefly show a little bit of, I think. This is the other theme that I showed a second ago on Guitar Pro that was finished and all. Here things can get a bit more complicated. You can do... I'm actually going to open a new little window here. You can just import a MIDI and then you have your thing, which I'm going to show in a second here. Meanwhile, this is not a free program either, but you can download the demo version, which is actually what I'm doing right now, because the only real thing you're missing out from using the demo version is the ability to export it to an MP3 file, which again, you can get around by, which I'll show you later. But then you can, for example, import, let's see here, let's go with Paper Mario this time, and this one, which has a stupid name, which I refuse to say. And then you have your thing here, and this program is very kind and already imports the instruments for you, so this will now sound... like that. Which is not necessarily so great. It sounds alright, sure, but it can be fixed on. One thing I like doing is, for example, take right here, this is a dulcimer. This one actually was a pretty crappy example because it sounds pretty alright already. I'll take the trumpet instead, or trombone or whatever, and I need to raise the volume. Right, see, that sounds alright as well. But what I like doing is going to the instrument, and even when it sounds fine, I like choosing the instrument again still, because for some reason, it makes it better. So if you're using a trombone, oh shit, I need to get the charger. If you're having a trombone instrument, I recommend using trombone 2, because it just sounds better in my opinion. So now it's suddenly...
Hey, Mixcraft is in trial
mode. You will
mode.
get that a ton of times when using the demo version. Because see, just that little touch of echo, it just makes it sound so much nicer, I think. And then you can just dig around that and you can do whatever you want, and suddenly it sounds a lot better. That's when you have this. Another thing I like doing is removing all the empty space around here, because it makes it look like I did a lot more work in this than I really did. So, this is actually a really good example of what I tend to do when I use this program, because here I've basically done everything I do tend to do. For instance, I of course didn't start out with all of these instruments. I've added instruments again after importing the MIDI into this program. So first of all, for instance, the harmonica here, that plays the main melody for the first part. I'm not going to play it because that'll kind of spoil things, but it was a bit quiet, and it was at the very loudest possible, so I couldn't get it any louder than that. So one thing I like doing then is add a second instrument, this time a bandoneon. You can use another harmonica and it will be louder as well, but it gets a weird sound to it when you use the same instruments playing at the same time. It works for other things such as the xylophone here, however, where I've done the same thing because I couldn't get it any louder. And then there's another thing I like doing. You can see all these little squares of, like, music here. This is one single instrument. This is the concert symbol. And this is why I love Mixcraft so much, because it has that amazing concert symbol. Just, I add this at like every single tune I use this program with. Just listen. It's so good, isn't it? So that's one thing I like doing, which you can experiment with. And, yeah. I really don't know what else I can say about this before I make it just a big full tutorial on how things work. Just experiment. These are the programs I've used for this, and it's how I go through things. But then you figure, oh wait, I didn't want to spend money on this, so I don't have the ability to mix it to MP3 or whatever. The option's there, but it won't allow you because it requires you to buy a code. So what you can do then is very, very nice. you can simply open the program Audacity. And that's basically your problem solved right there. You open Audacity, set to stereo mix, record, and boom. And see, now you have the thing. You didn't need to buy anything, and it won't sound exactly the same, however. It will be slightly worse, but it's still good enough, I should think. Also, holy crap, 20 minutes. So that's more or less how I do my things. Of course, the Audacity trick works with pretty much anything. Even if you're just downloading a sound effect from the internet and you need to actually buy it, you can just open up Audacity, search the stereo mix, and there you get it for free. It's cheating, but it's fun cheating. Again, this wasn't exactly a very thorough tutorial exactly, but that's because, again, you can just look that up on the internet for these particular programs and then you will have it. So there's no reason for me to make my own, because there are already too many of them. But I still hope this answered your main question, because I don't need to answer it more thoroughly. I've even gotten comments saying like, oh, how do I make Mario music? Like, no, you can't answer that. That's more of a matter of style. Like, when I first started making my music, I didn't have Mario specifically in mind. I just made something that I thought sounded like a good idea, and then, oh, this kind of fits Mario games. Yay! And that's just kind of the formula I've stuck with. I've actually even tried making, like, for example, Doctor Who-like music, and actually that's just about it. But my point is that there's no specific answer to just how do I make Mario music. It doesn't work like that. Do what you think sounds like a good idea, and then things will be happy times, hopefully. Of course, I'm just going to say it now, it's not going to be good at first. I thought my Mario & Luigi RPG 4 music was actually really good when I first made it, especially the bad guys theme. That was like my favorite. Looking back at it now, but keep doing it anyway. That's what I did. At least you will think, oh, holy crap, I need to stop this soon. You will probably think that it sounds good, but then it won't actually. But that's okay, because it will be better eventually, which I like to think that I've gotten. So, I hope this helped at least a little bit. And hopefully you'll shut the fuck up now.